Breaking news, everyone. Russia is claiming that the U.S. is pushing to go cashless by the end of 2025, going into 2026, in order to rob the world of its wealth and ultimately to rob me and you as American citizens.
They are very eager to solve the problem of declining trust in the dollar. The U.S., just as it did in the 1930s and 1970s, will solve its financial problems at the expense of the entire world, driving everyone where? Into the cryptocurrency cloud. Over time, when part of the U.S. national debt is placed in stablecoins, the U.S. will devalue that debt. Once again, in simple terms, right now they have a $35 trillion currency debt. They move it into crypto, into the cloud, devalue it, and start from scratch. This is for those who really love dealing with crypto.
Now, the policy that they're alluding to is when Donald Trump came into office, he signed an executive order on January 23rd of 2025, and it was to strengthen the United States leadership in the digital financial technologies. And it was launching out different ways that the United States can use cryptocurrencies with a stable coin in order to be able to have other means to work outside of the normal financial system. Now, Russia is saying this is a move like the United States did in the 1930s under FDR. He began to actually manipulate the gold system and pretty much came off the gold standard. But Nixon did it officially in the 70s. So he's saying this is a way that the U.S. get to reduce their debt. Now, Trump, on the other hand, is saying this is not the case. Trump is saying he's trying to find another way that to stop the Fed's dominance on controlling the market. He feels that there's some outside influences that can be actually corrupting even the Federal Reserve. Now, oddly enough, he is not the only president that felt this way. JFK did also. JFK was aware of this, and then this is why he passed Executive Order 1110.
On June 4th, 1963, U.S. President John F. Kennedy issued Executive Order 11110, authorizing the Secretary of the Treasury to issue silver certificates. This was the first of a series of moves to take control of U.S. money back from the Federal Reserve by giving greater power to the Treasury. Just 5 months later, on November 22nd, 1963, John F. Kennedy was assassinated.
It was bypassing the Federal Reserve. Now, many people believe that this move led to JFK assassination.
Shalom. Call halam la Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, Haracha Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that taught us this truth and sincerity. They steered us well and they rule well. Salutations to the hopeful elect. May the blessing of election be upon your house. This is the brother Zion Amawan coming at you with another lesson to feed the lambs through the Holy Spirit. Haracha Kodash. Lord willing, this lesson is edifying and to the point. All right. And in this lesson, we are going to get into temptation. All right. Now, you know what I'm saying, the ultimate temptation, all right, that we're going to have to go through is the time of the MOTB, all right? And as you can see, all right, this is whitehouse.gov/president and all that. All right, there's the corporate stamp. You see it, 4547, presidential actions. This is the actual executive order DJT signed January 23rd, 2025. All right, so they're trying to bring you a cashless society with a universal basic income, all right, and a social credit score by the beginning of 2026. All right, DJT got rid of FICO scores. He's going to get rid of those by 2026. All right, FICO scores won't actually mean anything. They're going to go by a Vantage score. A Vantage score, you can put more on your credit report, like, you know, rent, mortgage payments, cell phone payments, light bill, water bill, utility payments, stuff like that. But it's all going to boil down to that's going to be done away with, to where it's only going to be the CHIP. All right, that little grain of rice, man. All right, you ain't going to be able to do anything, buy, sell, get a job, have a PlayStation account, Xbox account. You won't be able to have an email, won't be able to go to work. you will be completely ostracized out of society. Like, you will be a nobody, a nothing. All right, to the point where you will be demonized, man. All right, just like how they demonize the so-called uncraxinated people, the ones that denied it, they got demonized, you know. And this MOTB is going to be presented to you, you know, because that's fair. They're not going to pin you down and force a C-hip in you, man. All right, it's going to be presented to you, and you're going to have people that's going to bow down, and you're going to have people that's not, you know. And in the eyes of these elites, there's a consequence. All right. But in the eyes of Yahweh Shema Shah, there's a consequence if you take that thing, man. All right. Spoken about in Revelation, the 14th chapter, the 9th verse going on down. All right. You know, you got wrath waiting on you, man. You got fire and brimstone. All right. You got a missile with your name on it, man. All right, but let's get to this executive order. Is going into strengthening the American leadership in digital financial technology. White House, January 23rd, 2025. By the authority vested in me as president by the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America, and in order to promote United States leadership in digital assets and financial technology while protecting the economic liberty, it is hereby ordered as follows. The digital asset industry plays a crucial role in the innovation and economic development in the United States, as well as our nation's international leadership. It is therefore the policy of my administration to support the responsible growth and use of digital assets, blockchain technology, and related technologies. Okay, so that's all boiling down to the C-hip. All right. They're not going to necessarily say C-hip, but we all know that those related technologies is most definitely the C-hip. All right. The brain C-hip, AI, all of that. All right. And also those digital payment ledgers. All right. Like FedNow, stuff like that. Now it says protecting and promoting the ability of individual citizens and private sector entities alike to across and use for lawful purposes open blockchain networks without persecution, including the ability to develop and deploy software, to participate in mining and validating, to transact with other persons without unlawful censorship, to maintain self-custody of digital assets. Okay, so, you know, it all sound like to the untrained ear, all right, the average American to jump on this thing. They'd be like, oh, yeah, man, I'm down for it, man. You know, does this mean that I can do this and that? As long as they got comfort, Jake is going, you know, bow down, man. You know? All right, so let's get Lord will I'll leave the link. But let's go into the scriptures right quick. Let's go into that word temptation. We already got it queued up. Revelation chapter 3 and verse 10. It reads, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world. You hear that? In the NLT, it says, because you have obeyed my command to persevere, I will protect you from the great time of testing that will come upon the whole world to test those who belong to this world. Second half in the KJV, which shall come upon you. Salakia. I just go ahead and start, some read from the top. Revelation 3 and 10, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation. All right. So that hour of temptation, all right, is the time of the MOTB, man. All right. Because, you know what I'm saying, Jake back is going to be against the wall, man. Okay. But Yahweh Shema Shah said that my servants is going to eat, drink, and rejoice. You know, so if you feel like Yahweh Shema Shah ain't dealing with you or something, then you need to get that checked. Okay, you need to check that at the door. you know, because Yahweh Shema Shai, you know, is not going to forsake those that, you know, so that believe and call on him with a contrite spirit, man. You know what I'm saying? You have those ingredients, faith, belief, contrite spirit, you know. You ain't got to know all of the breakdowns and all of this other stuff. You ain't got to know every single breakdown. It's good to know, you know, but you can know all the breakdowns and not make it, man. You know what I'm saying? But if you hold on to the basics, you know, like faith, belief, fear, you know what I'm saying? You hold on to the basics, that'll be enough to get you on the chariot, man. That'll be enough to keep you from the hour of temptation, man. You know, because you got faith and you got belief and you got fear in Yahweh Shema Shai that they're going to deliver you out of any type of situation. All right. The scripture said many of the afflictions, but the Lord delivered them out of them all, roughly paraphrasing, you know. All right. So let's get this word temptation real fast. All right. We finna get into it. Lord willing, this lesson is edifying. We got Strong's G. I'll go ahead and hit the button.
Strong's G 3986. Pyrasmas. Pyrasmas.
Right. Which means an experiment, attempt, trial, proving. You know, we got to prove ourselves to Yahweh Shema Shai that we're worthy, man. How the hell can you show that you're worthy? All right. And you over here bowing down. All right. Worshiping the image of the beast. You giving power to the image of the beast. You know what I'm saying? You are assisting, you know, because this C-hip is a badge of servitude. That's exactly what it is, man. It is a badge of servitude. All right. You are going to show who you serve, man. Do you serve these elites? All right. Do you serve Esau or do you serve Yahweh Shai, man? All right. Trial, proving the trial made of you by my bodily condition, since condition served as to test the love of the Galatians towards Paul. Here's the point. The trial of man's fidelity, integrity, virtue, constancy. You hear that? So you gonna get tried, man. Okay? But your faithfulness is going to get tried. Your firmness of mind is going to get tried. Okay? Because everything starts with a thought, man. That thought is going to lead to an action. You know? Everything starts with a thought. You know? One day somebody going to wake up and they going to be in that line in front of that white little tent. You know? Somewhere at a fucking abandoned Walgreens or something where there's military around and things of that nature, you know, or at your local Walmart. All right. You're going to have a lot of people going in them junks and you ain't going to have a lot of people coming out now. It ain't like they say, well, okay, come back when you make up your mind. Like, hell no, they ain't going to do that. You're going to have to make a conscious decision. Yahweh Shema Shai going to give everybody that opportunity to make a conscious decision. And if you are part of the elect, you ain't going to take no C-hip. The Lord going to make your lot to where you ain't going to take it. You know? Even if you do take it and you want to take it out and shit like that, that thing going to be embedded in your damn hand or in the muscle of your arm, wherever the fuck you get it, man. It's going to be embedded in your skin, man. And you already made your decision. It ain't no, I'm going to get it taken out. Like, nah, you already made your decision, man. Go on and ride out. You know what I'm saying? You probably going to use your C-hip for a couple months until the Lord zap your ass. You know? A trial of man's fidelity, integrity, virtue, constancy. All right, so let's get that word constancy real quick. Constancy, fixedness or firmness of mind, a fuller form going into faithfulness, fidelity. You hear that? A permanent state. And that goes back to the word constance, which is steadfastness, self-possession, composure. You're going to have a lot of people bugging out, you know, crying, banging damn pots together. I'm hungry. I'm thirsty. That's how people going to be, man. You know? People already on edge now. So just imagine when the time of the MOTB, when there's a scarcity of food and the only people that got the food is these damn, you know, the government, you know, and they ain't going to be feeding you real steaks. They going to be feeding you mosquito burgers and all type of bullshit, man. They not even finna give you the real stuff. You know, what did Klaus Schwab said? He eats the bugs, you know. You ain't gonna be eating no 5-star shit. You gonna be eating beyond everything. Impossible this, you know. They even gonna be feeding you impossible vegetables next in that day. But anyway, it says firm standing, steadiness, firmness, right? Be still and know that Yahweh Shema Shai is, man. You're going to have to be still in that day. You can't be the one hastening in a time of trouble when something go wrong. You want to try to fix it yourself and try to avenge and save yourself. You don't want to be like that, man. That old, you know, I save myself spirit. You know? Because Jake going to be enticed. You know, and that's going right back to what was going right here. Hold on, let me get it right quick. All right. The trial of man's fidelity, integrity, virtue, constancy, and enticement to sin. You hear that? Jake is going to be enticed, man. You know? Jake going to be thinking 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. And that stomach going to be rumbling. They going to be so hungry, they neck going to be whistling. You know? Stomach all sunk in and shit. They going to be enticed, man. They going to be like, man, let me go down here to the woo out the band, man. Shit. And then, you know what I'm saying? Then after that, you going to come back with a box of food with about 2 eggs in it, some fucking heavy cream, and some powdered potatoes. You know? That's probably going to feed his family of 5 probably just that day. And he going to be right back hungry tomorrow. You know? An enticement to sin, temptation, whether arising from the desires or from the outward circumstances. An internal temptation to sin. Man. Whew. An internal temptation to sin. You know? A thought. Jake gonna be thinking hard, man. I wouldn't be surprised if you had like an announcement on your phone or something to where like you'll be in the middle of doing a video or watching a video or, you know, on the phone with a friend, a loved one, whatever. And then the phone just cut off and then this whole, you know, the United States of America calls all Americans to come together with this CHIP, and those that don't take it will be executed and stuff like that. Like they gonna give. I wouldn't be surprised if they did that. You know, it ain't far fetched because you know what I'm saying, doing a national state of emergency with the president at the desk with the red phone, with the suit on. You know, telling you how it is and what it's going to be. You know? And Jake going to be sitting there looking at the phone, eyes big, confused, don't know what the hell going on. And then, you know what I'm saying, as soon as the video over with, Jake going to be processing everything. You know? Dang, man, like we haven't ate about 5 days. We ain't. And that last shit we ate 5 days ago wasn't shit. You know? We had to eat around the mold on the cheese. You know? But anyway, it says adversity 4 is adversity, affliction, trouble sent by Yahweh Shema Shai and serving to test or proves one's character, faith, holiness. Okay, you are not supposed to change who you are just because they are putting this obstacle in your way, man. Yahweh Shema Shai control everything. All right, the king's heart is in the hands of Yahweh Shema Shai. It's nothing for the Lord to feed you. That's why the scriptures say, don't worry about what ye shall eat or what ye shall drink, man. Or how ye shall be clothed. You know, if the Lord clothe the grass, he can clothe you. You know, I mean, like it's nothing for you to eat and drink. Because a lot of times, Yahweh Shema Shai be giving people food and drink just to preserve their ass for death. Keeping their ass, you know what I'm saying, alive just enough. You know? C, it says temptation, trial of the Most High by man, rebellion against Yahweh Shema Shai, by which his power and justice are, as it were, put to the proof and challenged to show themselves. Right, show ourselves worthy, show ourselves faithful, show ourselves fearful. All right? Because if you take the MOTB and you know that you ain't supposed to take it and you take it anyway, you just don't fear Yahweh Shema Shai. You just don't. You know, it's like you want to die. You know? Because the Lord going to destroy you versus you being martyred. Being martyred for Yahweh Shema Shai is a noble thing. You know? Because the scriptures say, greater than these than a man that laid down his life for his friends. Roughly paraphrasing, you know? That's great. That's noble. You know? Laying your life down for the truth. Laying your life down for Yahweh Shema Shai. Getting locked up for Yahweh Shema Shai. That's noble. Taking the MOTB is not noble. That means your ass is selfish. You ain't got no faith. And you leaning on Egypt for help, and you already showed who you gonna worship. You worship Esau, Edom, these elites, man. You worship this system. Okay, so you can fall with it. See, Yahweh Shema Shai got a stick on the stand, and he drew that line. You either gonna be over here or over there. And this right here is the equalizer. This right here is the separator. On what side you really gonna be on. Not all that talking. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of talking now. It's time to do. You know? And then that day, that's the final exam. And it's worth 100% of your grade. 100% of your salvation, man. You ain't gonna be hungry long. Yahweh Shema Shai may have a person that took the MOTB and they give you some food and it's lawful for you to eat. Yeah, come on, man. There's 1,000 ways to skin a cat. Just don't be the cat. You know, because those that take the MOTB is the cat. And they gonna end up, you know, skinned alive, man. You know? So Lord willing, this lesson was edifying and to the point. I want to give infinite honors, praises, and glory to Yahweh by Hashem, Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Shalom to the elect. We on the next one. I'm Barak Tazai. Shalom.